What's up, Raider Nation? Welcome back to another episode of the Raider Ricks podcast. Today, I'm going to cover the Raiders versus Chiefs. That game was insane. Second, I'm going to cover what's been going on with the bye week and just everything going on with that. And third, I'm going to go over what we need to do in order to beat the Buccaneers on Sunday night. It should be a lot of fun just to watch it. Hopefully, it's not an absolute disaster, but we'll see what happens. So let's get into it. Alright, so obviously this game was the biggest upset of the entire week, and everybody doubted us. Honestly, after that first interception, I was like, well, this is done. But it wasn't. I mean, Derek Carr played absolutely outstanding after that first interception that he threw. Yes, I get the interception. It was a little wonky. He kind of overthrew it. It was a bad play. It happens. It happens. It was his first interception of the season. So I don't want to read too much into it. It was a one-time thing this week, and I have a feeling that next week he's going to play even better than he did. And the cool thing about this one is he absolutely outplayed Patrick Mahomes from the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, everybody has been going off and saying, oh, it was just a bad game for the Chiefs. It was this, it was that. No, Derek Carr and the Raiders offense played absolutely lights out, and there should be absolutely no question on whether he is part of the future or not, because as of right now, it definitely is. John Gruden stated after the game that there's not one thing he would question about the way Derek Carr played that day. He is the guy to take this team over. It's his team. Now, everybody wants to freak out. Oh, he threw an interception. Who gives a shit? We won the game. Obviously, there's some things he needs to clean up. There's some things the whole team needs to clean up. Our defense was in the backfield all day, putting a lot of pressure on Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes played horribly, personally. I mean, we've all seen what he's capable of doing. Now, it was a high-scoring game, but the Raiders' offense is just way too powerful to be overlooked by any defense in the league now. And it's going to be a tough matchup from here on out with any team, because they're going to try and take away those over-the-top, deep threat plays. With the speed of Henry Ruggs, I don't see it happening very often, because as of right now, I don't believe that there is any corner, safety, defensive back out there that can cover him one-on-one. His speed is just a huge mismatch. He's also a very solid route runner. So we'll see where things go with that. Our defense actually played pretty solid in the second half, holding them, I think it was like 40 yards up until their last touchdown drive to bring it back within one score. But the game was actually farther away than it looked with the end score being what it was. Now, with that said, obviously the defense has some things it needs to clean up on. It needs to shore up on tackling. It needs to keep staying in the holes. That way it can stop the run. The coverage was absolutely outstanding. I mean, Tyreek Hill did virtually nothing in this game. Patrick Mahomes, he was shaken up all day. And that's what we need to see from our D-line every single game if we're going to win some of these tough matchups. Now, I still feel like the Raiders are super disrespected in the league. I mean, every NFL analyst that has come out since we beat the Saints and the Chiefs now, they just keep saying how it was just bad games for both of those teams. None of them want to give credit to the Raiders. To me, that's bullshit. I feel like there should be a lot more respect going towards us just because of how well they've been playing, especially against the great teams in the league. I mean, the Saints, they had Drew Brees. Drew Brees is obviously one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game. And then you got the Chiefs, who are a super high-powered offense. Their defense is supposed to be pretty stout, pretty solid in the run. We had all day to throw against both of those teams, all day to run against both of those teams. Our defense stepped up and made the stops when we absolutely needed it. Now, I want to give a shout out to one specific player from this game, and that is fullback Alec Ingold. Fullbacks are absolutely underrated in this league right now, and Alec Ingold can do just about damn near everything. He can run, he can catch out of the backfield. They even had him lined up out wide in a couple plays, which is insane to see for a fullback, especially one of his size. I mean, he absolutely dominated in that game. He slammed right through one of the Chiefs defenders, knocked his helmet off, hit him super hard. Just this game, even now, a week or so later, like, it still got me hella hyped up. I cannot wait to see what happens with the rest of the season. All right, so before I get into talking about the bye week, first I want to show this play from Alec Ingold, the one where he knocks off the dude's helmet. This shit had me so hyped. I was just freaking out when I saw it because you don't usually see this kind of play. And, I mean, Alec Ingold, he just brought the truck stick. I mean, he absolutely hammered this guy. So, let's just watch this video real quick.
Angle on him, but watch Ingold at the end of this play. Everything is in Bashaud Breeland's favor except the fact that Ingold wanted to get to that first down marker, and he brought every bit of his 240 pounds through the shoulders of Bashaud Breeland, and he keeps a hand on the ground so he stays up and extends out and picks.
All right, so that was the play. Now we're going to get into the bye week and just go over a couple things that happened. Damon Arnett was placed on the COVID-19 list, so he's most likely going to be out anyways, just because not only was he injured, now he's possibly got COVID, so he's out for the week. Trent Brown was just placed on the COVID-19 list, and John Gruden came out after that was all announced, saying he had to send home all 5 starting offensive linemen because they were in contact with Trent Brown. So this is going to be pretty bad. I'm hoping that they're all healthy and that it was just nobody really has it and it was just a contact thing. But, I mean, at this point, who knows? We're going to find out probably more in the next 2-3 days. And I'm just hoping for the best. So, not only did all that happen, we also signed defensive lineman David Irving. He's been out of the league for 2 years. He's been signed to the practice squad, and he's already been placed on the protected list for the practice squad, which means he cannot be signed by another team. He was suspended and has not played since 2017, which is a little sketch, only because that's a long time to be out of the league and not playing. So obviously they want to put him on the practice squad, get him a little comfortable with the defense, more comfortable with the scheme, get him back into his full playing form, and just see what they got in him. So from what I understand, it's like a veteran's minimum, which is kind of nice because it's not too expensive. And when he was healthy, when he played, he was absolutely a monster on the field. Hopefully they can get him readjusted and put him in within the next couple weeks. The league has relaxed a lot on the marijuana situation, and that's actually what he was suspended for. So this should not be an issue anymore with him being suspended unless some weird unforeseen things happen, which I don't see happening by any means. But who knows? It very well could happen. Hopefully it doesn't. I'm just excited to see what this guy can bring to the team, can put on film, and just see if he can come out and dominate like he did prior to his suspension. Now, I want to talk about one other thing with the bye week, because John Gruden said after the game when we played the Kansas City Chiefs that during the bye week he's hoping to get Brian Edwards and Richie Incognito back healthy. It Does not look like that's going to happen, but anything can change within the next few days. Bryan Edwards is still in his walking boot, so it looks like he's going to be out for at least this week, possibly next week as well. Richie Incognito, he had an Achilles issue, which obviously for being a big, solid O lineman, an Achilles injury is going to be a huge problem, and it's going to take a little bit longer to heal than it would for, someone that's going to be more of like a running back, a wide receiver, just because they don't have that kind of weight on them, so it's not going to put as much strain. Now, with that said, Richie Incognito should be back, if not this Sunday, most likely next Sunday. At least that's what I'm hoping for, and that's what John Gruden had said today. So we'll see what happens with all that. Also, Marcus Mariota, the backup quarterback, was designated to come back off of injured reserve. He is now back. He's now practicing with the team. Everybody who wants to say, "Oh, he's going to take over the team," he's not going to do it. So just stop the narrative. It's not going to happen unless something happens to Derek Carr and he gets injured, or his play level just falls off, which I really do not see happening with the way he's been playing this year. He's actually in the MVP talk so far. He's finally starting to get some respect on his name.
When y'all saying my name, put some respect on.
So I'm excited to see how he continues to play now that he's getting some of his respect back. And that's pretty much all that's happened in the bye week, honestly. Other than that, there's not much to talk about for the bye week itself, other than just them getting rested and healed up a little bit. And that's about it. So now we're going to go and talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game. All right, so now that we're talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game, this one I feel is going to be a tough matchup, especially if Trent Brown doesn't play, because the Tampa Bay defensive line absolutely annihilated Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers offensive line. So, barring Trent Brown not playing, barring the rest of the O-line not playing because they were in contact with him, if they all play, even if Trent Brown doesn't play, we still have Sam Young, who's pretty solid, but I don't know how well he's going to match up with their defensive linemen. So this is definitely going to be a battle in the trenches between the offensive line of the Raiders and the defensive line of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The other matchup I wanted to watch is going to be Tampa Bay's offensive line against the Raiders' defensive line, which kind of broke out last week against the Chiefs. They had a lot of pressures on Patrick Mahomes. They only rushed 3 or 4 in the entire time. I think they blitzed like 3 or 4 times throughout the game. But other than that, it was mainly, 3 or 4 defensive linemen, and then the rest were all back in coverage. Plus, they used Arden Key as a spy, which was absolutely awesome to see, because Arden Key, he's quick, he's shifty, he's tall, he's big-bodied, he's super long. So he was like the ideal prospect to be a quarterback spy for this team right now. And I love seeing it. It got him some more playing time. He got some pressures on Mahomes. He batted down, I think, 2 passes. I mean, he played really, really well in that position. Now, with all that said, this next game against the Buccaneers will absolutely put the Raiders in position to be one of the biggest talks of the league if they win. Now, this is a very winnable game because the run defense of Tampa is not very good. Their pass defense isn't great, but it's pretty solid. But their defensive line getting pressures on the quarterback is pretty scary considering what's going on with our offensive line right now, with Richie Incognito being out, with Trent Brown possibly being out, and with the other offensive linemen getting sent home earlier. It's a little scary, but I have faith that this team is just going to come out guns blazing like they did against the Chiefs and just manhandle the defensive line of the Buccaneers. Obviously, sacks happen, interceptions happen. I'm not too worried about the interceptions because Derek Carr is actually really solid in protecting the ball when it comes to interceptions. Now, the fumbles do scare me a little bit, especially if Tampa Bay's defensive line gets to him. But I don't really see that happening all too much. Now, we do have Henry Ruggs healthy still, and that's definitely a boost to our offensive game plan. This game is going to come down. It's probably going to be a shootout towards the end. I'm just hoping that it's a good game and that the team comes out and plays as well as they can. And if that happens, we'll get the win, no doubt, because I feel like our team is actually more solid than the Buccaneers. I mean, we got a better running back, better offensive line, a quarterback who's absolutely on fire right now.
There is no fire!
Come back here!
But something looks wrong. I mean, he's running around like he's on fire.
Oh my God, help me! I don't want to die!
The best fullback in the league in Alec Ingold. One of the top 3 tight ends in the league. A very solid wide receiving core with Henry Ruggs, Nelson Aguilar, Zay Jones. You know, the pieces are coming together on offense, but the defense is definitely going to need to step it up in this game, because if any of you watched the Tampa Bay and Green Bay Packers game, Tampa Bay absolutely outplayed Green Bay the entire 4 quarters, offense, defense, and special teams. So in all phases, they absolutely manhandled the Packers. So hopefully we can come out with the win. I do feel like we have the stronger team. That's just my opinion. Obviously, it's all perspective, and everybody's got their own opinions on it. Whatever. But for right now, definitely, I feel like it's going to be a very winnable game. And if we do win this game, it's going to put the Raiders on the map. They're going to be one of the teams to beat in order to make the playoffs. I'm calling it right now. I feel like the Raiders are going to win, and it's not even going to be close. I feel like it's going to be like 32-18, somewhere in there. That's my prediction. Feel free to drop your predictions on there in the comment section. I'm up to hear everybody's opinions on it. Last but not least, as Al Davis would say,
Just win, baby.